If you don't realize that, you blame other people for reactions that you're having because of your past trauma.
Who's most likely to change the most in the next 5 years?
I don't know. I don't know. You! Jessica, come into the living room in 1 hour. We need to talk.
I think it burned.
Really?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Welcome back to another video on my channel. Today we're going to be talking about friendships. I'm not alone.
No.
I have a guest for the
Hi.
first time.
My name is Wura. I'm Jessica's best friend.
Her only best friend.
If you saw my last video, I to be alone and not feel lonely. She was the person I was talking about. Now you guys get to meet her. I'm so excited. We're gonna be making cookies.
Teaching you how to make cookies. Triple chocolate chip cookies.
At the end of this, we're gonna play a little Who's Most Likely To game. So stay tuned for that. Here are the chapters of today's video, and let's get right into it. So the first question I would like to ask you, Wura, what are the two main things that you have learned about friendship with our friendship?
A major thing that this friendship has taught me is that good friendships take work. I think that our generation is super quick to be like, this isn't serving me anymore. And then leaving when all it takes is a good conversation. Because people go through things. Like, you're not the only factor in someone's life. If you feel like you're not being prioritized, have a conversation. If you feel like something was misunderstood, have a conversation. It's okay to communicate. In fact, it's encouraged. Communication is encouraged around here. I'll be so real with you. This generation is selfish. It started out the right way. You want to prioritize your mental health. Make sure that what's around you serves you. But also being patient and calm and understanding, hearing people out is the key to long-lasting, good quality relationships in your life.
In the beginning of our friendship, it was me. In the beginning of our friendship, I definitely had to learn to be more comfortable with being more open and to remind myself that this was a safe space because she can't talk to a wall.
You have to be okay with being annoyed sometimes. Like, it wasn't always easy to start those conversations. I didn't understand attachment styles then. I didn't know anything about attachment. And so I was like, why isn't she talking to me? Like, if I did something wrong, just tell me I did something wrong. I lean anxious. She leans avoidant. It could have been a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
But for me to be okay with being annoyed, that looked like, I really don't feel like talking right now. I feel like you're pushing me away. I don't know if I want to be the one that's reaching out. And for her, oh my gosh, why is this girl forcing me to talk right now? I don't want to talk right now. Leave me alone. But it worked because we pushed through the discomfort. One thing that I know is super important in relationships is how you speak to people. My family, we do conflict. Every family, you fight, you argue. But I know myself, and I know that when I get heated, I get heated. And sometimes I can say things that I don't really mean. If I feel like you're not listening to me, I know that you're going to listen to me. Like, when I say that, people pay attention when you're mean to them.
We got to talk about that, my brother. That's not acceptable.
I looked at Jessica, and I thought and still think this is somebody I want to be in my life forever, for a very long time.
Yeah.
And so I have to pick my words carefully. And so if I feel really upset with this, let me sit with it. Let me talk to God about it. Let me see the root of the issue. Is what she's doing really annoying, or is it just triggering something in me that makes me feel annoyed? And I sit there, I'm like, why is this so annoying? But it's because it's like poking a wound in me. And if you don't realize that, you blame other people for reactions that you're having because of your past trauma. So processing that with God, and then coming to her and being like, oh yeah, by the way, I don't really like that you did this. That came from a true place. This behavior, yes, it's triggering this in me, but also in order for me to feel safe here, I need to talk to her so that we can figure out some sort of middle ground.
Browning barter, guys. There might be some people who are in that boat and they don't know if they're just being angry at the situation or they're being triggered. How did you figure out the difference between the two?
Sometimes it was a little bit of both. You can kind of tell when you're being triggered by something in the past because it's like, oh, this really feels like the time that friend did that to me. And I feel really sad because it's happening again. And when you hear that, it's happening again, that's trauma speaking now. There's nothing wrong with that. But now that you've realized that it's trauma speaking, you can then catch it and be like, okay, what sort of response am I going to have? Is it going to be emotions led? Or am I really going to think through the best way to go about responding to the situation? How do I regulate? Prayer. I will literally sit in the place of prayer. I'll cry. I'll feel what I need to feel. But because I'm in that place, I know that I can leave it there and I don't have to pick it up again.
The case with a lot of people, they're speaking out of trauma instead of speaking out of the emotion towards the situation. And that could be a reason why people struggle making friends, because they constantly project. But what are some other main reasons that you think people struggle with keeping friends?
Keeping friends or making friends. Keeping friends. I think I stated a lot of it in the beginning. Like, you're not okay with being inconvenienced. There was a turning point for me in our friendship. I saw this post on the internet that was like, forfeit your bedtime to stay awake to talk to a friend who needs you for a second. And there was literally one night where I was like, okay, she hasn't spoken to me for a week now.
And that's bad. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that.
We were like two ships in the night, same uni, same classes. I think it was the same night we went to, or the day after we went to.
I remember.
Yeah. And there was one night where we had been in the house together all day, but hadn't spoken to each other. And I texted her, Jessica, come into the living room in 1 hour, we need to talk.
That scared the frick out of me. That could be such
No, I was like, enough is enough. But that was the night where I was like, okay, you need to forfeit your bedtime, because I'm very type A. I'm type A and I'm a morning person. So my sleep is when I sleep and I wake up at the crack of dawn. Sure, let's do this in 15 minutes. Where are you going to forfeit your bedtime? You're going to figure out what's going on because you care about this person and you're literally seeing them as a shell of themselves, what's going on. And so we went in the living room and spoke for a while. Actually, I was like, are you okay? And she was like, yeah. I was like, okay, let's try that again. People can't keep friends because you are unwilling to be inconvenienced for a short amount of time for the people that you care about. Also, stop thinking that everything is awkward all the time. That person is not waiting for you to do something that's a little strange to then pick you apart. And if they are, they have problems. This butter is taking so long to brown.
It is.
Measure out the sugars. It's supposed to be 100 grams of white and 165, but I'm doubling the recipe.
What?
I also know. I know. Now we have the weight of the bowl, so now we'll get to know the weight of the sugar.
Hey, Jesus.
Maybe let's not double the recipe. Oh my gosh. Overloaded it.
What am I gonna do? It's okay. It's okay. They'll be sweet anyway because they're strong enough.
But I need it for the structural integrity of the cookie. Hold on.
Meanwhile, at the Krusty Krab.
Oh, did it burn?
I think it burned.
It burned.
Really?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
We've browned the butter. We have cut 1 box of chocolate, and so now we're gonna keep going. Can you tell us about the most problematic trait that you had prior to your growth journey?
Before my growth journey, not before our friendship.
Before your growth journey.
I feel like you maybe might be able to answer this for me. For some reason. We both had not great friendships. There were a lot of negative behaviors that I had picked up because I had to basically cope. You have to understand that my growth journey coincided with my finding Jesus. I had a lot of negative behaviors, and one of them is self-isolation. If something happened, if I fell out with a friend, I would isolate myself, and my first thought would be, oh, this person is acting in such a way that says that they don't like me. No one likes me. And I'd just be like, I'm fine to be by myself. I can do this life by myself, I'll be fine, which is not good. But that's who I was, and that's what I did, but not anymore. There will always be people who don't like you, but if every action has an equal and opposite reaction, then the very action of someone rejecting you in some way, I'm not a physicist, okay, but to me that gives that there will be someone out there that will accept you for who you are. That was a really toxic trait of mine, catastrophizing. But now we're on our journey, we don't do that anymore, okay? We pause and we think about things, and we are patient with the outcome of life, because sometimes there are rough patches, but there are always good patches. I want to garnish the cookies. Oh, so it does look like that. Does that look the same? Because I'm supposed to put like 50 more grams of sugar in this. Actually 80 more grams, but that's a lot.
Some people might struggle with resolving conflict. That's the word. So how did you bring that up?
I just did. I just brought it up. I had to have myself up because I'd never really done it before. I just had to sit and be like, you know what? I don't know what the outcome will be, but hopefully it'll be a good one. And let me go in and let me hear her out. Maybe I did do something wrong, and then she can tell me and we can work through it, because every other conversation I'd had with a friend was always after the friendship had deteriorated, after things had gone downhill. And I was like, I have a unique opportunity to do this while we are still in a friendship. You just have to put your big girl pants on and do it, and just try not to hope for the worst. What if something bad happens? What if something good happens? And you have a sister now. What if something good happens?
What is the most positive trait that you admire in yourself that you feel like has carried you in friendships? Thinking cat, thinking cat.
Thinking cat. Thinking wig. I think I'm a people person. I think I'm good at speaking to people. I'm gonna go to that person. I'm gonna talk to them despite being a little nervous, because I want to be. They seem cool. I want to be friends with them. So it was faking that confidence, not ever faking my personality. I like that I drop whatever facade the world might want me to put on, and I'm just authentic, and people feel comfortable because you can smell genuine authenticity.
Understand your skill of being a people person is something that I really admire about you, and I think that you're very, very good at. But I also think that a lot of people don't understand people. So as somebody that knows how to socially work a room, what has been your journey in understanding people in friendships, and what has that looked like for you?
I used to be a really shy kid. I was very extroverted as a young child, and then I got really, really shy. That opportunity of being quiet, being out of the spotlight, it allowed me to watch people and learn people and how they behave, the things that are socially acceptable and the things that aren't, and knowing where I want to fall on that spectrum. I think just watching people, observing people. I love reality television. It's a view into human beings and how we work. Yes, I will keep watching the Kardashians and every season of Real Housewives. We watch those things because they're sensational, because they do things that regular people would never do. But I just think it allows you to see, when you see the extremes of things, you can really see the details of these human interactions. You can see, oh, she's mad because she bought the same designer bag that the other lady had and wore it to the same event, knowing that the other lady would wear it to that event as well. But that's not the issue. The issue is insensitivity, knowing that somebody wanted to feel special, wanted to feel like the center of the moment, and you took that away from them. That's the crux of the matter. And so I think watching reality TV, watching these huge situations occur is great, but it allows you to like focus on the little, when you might not be able to do that in daily life.
There are some people who think that that's really overwhelming. And so was there a time when doing this that you thought it was really overwhelming to have to remember all of these social things?
It can be a little overwhelming, but then again, you have to pick your heart. Because if you don't understand people and how they work, then you will be misunderstood as well, because you're not going to be able to behave in a way that's acceptable. Yeah, and in a way that is acceptable. I guess acceptable is a perfect word.
Or just in a way that truly conveys your intentions.
Exactly.
Clearly conveys your intentions.
Exactly. So it's the whole self-development conundrum.
Sorts of things.
Take your hard. You either stay the way you are and continue encountering the challenges that you encounter, or you do the hard work that hard and you better yourself, and then you live a life from this higher perspective, this higher standpoint, knowing how exactly the way you want to appear in real life and the way you want to show up as a person in society. So
this is the last question before the who's most likely to. We're going to talk about female friendships. Some people out there that maybe don't have a good representation of a woman in their life, or have not had good relationships with girls their age in the past, and so that has formed the way that they look at women and interact with women in adulthood and teenagehood, things like that. So what is your kind of perspective and experience in that, and how do you view female friendships now?
friendships with women, let me not say female because I hate when people say that. Friendships with women, I think, are incredibly important because you need someone who understands your worldview. I think that friendships with both of the sexes are incredibly important because with men, you need an opposing worldview. So that when you encounter a problem with a man, you can go to a man and be like, bro, what is going on? Like, is this normal? Being able to be friends with someone with a similar worldview, being able to be friends with you, a Black woman who has also had a similar life experience because of her Blackness, is invaluable because I know that I'm not going through things alone. I know that I'm not the only one that this situation has happened to, or I'm not the only one who falls into that train of thinking. I'm normal because somebody else encounters that as well. Like, there's such a tenderness that women have. We are nurturers. We take care of the people and the things around us. And that's something that is unique to women, and that's special, and that comes from our femininity. And to be able to show that and give that to other people, have a feminine experience with someone else, I would not trade it for the world.
We do have like quite a lot of girls, female friends, and I feel like compassion and empathy and things like that is something that is in abundance among us.
There are just things that are unique to friendships with women versus friendships with men. And there are things that are unique to my friendships with my male friends that don't occur in my friendships with my female friends. It goes both ways, but I just value women. I love women. I do. I value men too. Don't get me wrong. This is not a man-hating space. This page is not a man-hating page. No. But I just love my girls.
Yeah.
I love women.
Women are so amazing. And I pray that if you guys haven't had the chance to experience an authentic, truly, truly feminine circle of women around you, that comes quickly for you in Jesus' name. Because the way that you get so comfortable in your femininity when you're around women like that, the way that you become so comfortable being vulnerable and intimate when you are around women like that, when you become so in tune with yourself, you are not disconnected from your emotions, you are not constantly in your head because they bring you back down.
Here more, it's not it's the part. Yeah, I think it might have been more. I might need more. Okay, wait, just hold this. Because they need to be dark. Damn. Also, I need to remember it'll get our acrylic when it touches the liquid.
Do we now we're on to the last section of this video. This is a rapid fire who's most likely to. You're gonna get 5 seconds to answer this. First question: who's most likely to cry after an emotional heart-to-heart?
Me.
Second question: who's most likely to change the most in the next 5 years?
Ooh, I don't know. You!
Who's most likely to encourage the other to step outside of their comfort zone?
Jess.
Who's most likely to catch the other falling back into old patterns and call it out?
Jess.
Who's most likely to initiate a conversation about where the friendship is headed?
Me.
Who's most likely to build a life that aligns with their soul and not just societal expectations?
Jess.
Who's most likely to create something that helps other people heal?
Jess and Wura show.
If you actually want to see how the cookies turn out, if you want a part 2 of this conversation where we get into more in-depth topics, go to her channel.
Come on down.
Listen to her podcast.
Yeah.
That is it. for today's video. You don't need to go anywhere else. The link will be in my description to the part 2 of this video, which is on her channel, to her podcast, and to her Instagram. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We read all of our comments and we will respond. So leave all of your honest thoughts or dishonest thoughts if you want, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.